All right, testing, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Um, Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second webinar on how to break into AI. My name is Ali Parande. I will be your host today, and I welcome you all to this webinar today on how we all break into AI. I'm really excited to have this webinar for you. Um, Let me just mute myself. I'm really excited to all be meeting you today and to take you through some of the tactics and some of the techniques on how you can actually learn the skills and information you need to know in order to switch careers into AI or build up your career if you're already working within this industry. I'm a data scientist. I work for a startup, a rail tech startup here in London, and I manage some of their hires as well as lead some of their data science projects. My background is in engineering. Here today with me as well is Raghav Dave, who is also a data scientist working for another company called Canos. Um, he will be also joining us today halfway through the webinar to tell you about some of his ways that he managed to break into AI. Both of us have broken into AI, so we weren't previously within AI before. We basically we have a background in engineering. We started engineering and we basically self-studied, and we got ourselves to this position that we are today. And there is a framework that we have developed that we want to share with you today, which we will go forward, which we will do as we go forward within this webinar. So this webinar is about breaking into AI, and we will be presenting some of these techniques and tactics as we go forward, and we're really excited for you to joining us today. Before I go forward into showing you a video that Andrew has prepared for us, and also to give you some of the agenda for today's webinar, I wanted to finish some housekeeping and go from there. So we are, the organizer of this group is called Beginners Machine Learning Group. This is a group I founded so that we can bring together different people from various industries to talk about AI, talk about various skill sets that we all need to do, as well as to run workshops, which we all ourselves develop, and use these workshops to actually, upskill the community members and also to share knowledge within ourselves. One of these if you want to actually join the group ourselves, you can actually go to our search for a meetup group called Beginners Machine Learning in London, and you would be able to see something similar to this page. I also provide you with the link. There is also a link down in the description if you want to get access to these slides right now, and we can go from there. One of the things that we're working on at the moment is a computer vision workshop. There is a link as well down in the description if you want to sign up for this webinar. That will go live in 2 weeks. You can also learn more about computer vision and how computers process images. When you sign up for that workshop, you will also get access to an online course we're developing at the moment, and that would be free. We would have about 12.5 hours of video, 20 Jupyter notebooks to work through, and 6 projects. And this would be worth about £300, but we are providing it for free for people who sign up for a workshop in the next, in the link description below. And the kind of people who would benefit from this workshop would be data scientists, students, software engineers, researchers, designers, and founders, or people who want to get their hands a bit more around computer vision technology, and also learning more about how computer vision can be used in day-to-day life. So if you want to break into AI, computer vision is a really, really mature field, a really good field to get into, because there is a lot of various different still opportunities to be taken forward within this field in terms of startup ideas, MVPs, like researches that have been going on, and also understanding how computers work with this data. So it's one of the most impactful fields of AI if you want to get into computer vision. Coursera has a couple of deep learning courses that will provide you with the necessary skills in terms of deep learning if you want to get into computer vision. So at the end of this webinar, I will send you a link. Deep Learning AI will send you a link that you can fill in, and then they will provide you with a 50% discount for your first month if you want to sign up for some of their courses. And they have TensorFlow courses, they have deep learning courses, and they have also various different courses if you want to get signed up and get some subscription access. Some of the projects we work on in this specific particular course for computer vision is learning edge detection, learning contour detection, equalization of images, histograms, and so on. So it's filled with lots of different projects. So if you join me within 2 weeks by signing up in the link description below, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time and we can get started with that specific workshop. But you will also get a certificate as well if you want to showcase it on your LinkedIn, and we can go from there. So with that said, let's get into the content of this workshop. So we will particularly talk about 4 things. We will talk about what kind of skills you will need to build if you want to get into AI, how you need to build your personal branding. So it's very, very important that you build your professional brand properly. Because that dictates if whether you get a job in AI or whether you can find a co-founder if you want to build your own startup within this particular field. You will also get, we will also talk about you getting UK visa. So if you're currently outside of UK or you're a student in the UK and you want to switch to tier 2 visa, I will talk you through some of the processes to do that. I have switched 2 times myself from student to tier 2 and from another tier 2 to another tier 2 visa. So I can tell you a bit more about how you can actually go through the steps and maximize your chances for getting a visa in the UK. And lastly, we're going to talk about building an AI career. Raghav will talk you through more about processes that he took to get into the industry, in particular with building the skills and building a personal branding, and how he is actually right now improving his career as now he's within the industry. And at the end, we will have a Q&A session where we can focus on specific questions that you guys have. Feel free to post in the chat as I talk. Raghav will try to answer them, but I will also answer them once we get to the end of the session where we just switch between us, and we can answer you through our screencast, the webcast, as well as within the chat. So going forward, let me just check. So going forward, let's have a look at some of the videos that actually Andrew NG has provided for us. See you in a minute.
Hello, deep learners. I'm Andrew Ng, founder of deeplearning.ai, and I'm excited to welcome you to our global deep learning community. I know that many of you are here today because you want to break into AI and build your career. I hope that being part of this community will help you to do so. To give you a proper welcome, I'd like to show you around the deeplearning.ai offices and meet some of the teams so that you can see where it all happens.
Oh, hi, Andrew.
Do you want to tell our friends at Pine AI what you do at deeplearning.ai?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I make articles and other media that help people learn about AI and help them understand the huge impact that AI is having in the world. Today, I'm putting together the next issue of The Batch, our weekly newsletter, and I'm looking for the biggest stories of the week to keep our readers informed.
What's been the most surprising thing you've run into working on The Batch?
How much is going on in this field? There is never a dull moment. You might think from the outside that machine learning engineers really understand everything about AI, but nobody understands everything about AI because this field is just coming to life right before my eyes as I put this thing together every week.
All right, I know you're really busy, so I'll let you get back to it.
Thanks. See you later.
Let's go meet Kian, who helped me create the deep learning specialization. He's working on an exciting new project. Hey Kian, so do you want to tell the people at Pine AI what you're working on?
Yes, sure. I'm leading a project called Workera, focusing on helping people get offers in AI and navigating their career by testing their skills, preparing for interviews and certifying them, as well as matching and referring them to good jobs in AI.
That's really cool. And what's the most exciting part of your day?
The AI field is new, organizations and jobs are still misunderstood. So I'm excited to help people understand what different types of jobs exist in the field, what tasks they will work on, and what skills are needed to achieve those tasks.
That's really important work. Well, it's nice chatting. And now let's go chat to Hotel, who is on their product team.
Hey, Andrew.
Do you want to say hi to our friends at Pine AI and let them know what you're working on?
I would love to. Hi, everyone. I lead the product team in deeplearning.ai, where we create AI education content accessible to people all around the world. People like you.
And what are you most excited about right now?
I am so excited to see our community grow and to see how eager people are to learn more about AI.
Thanks, also.
Thanks, Andrew.
So, as you can see, our team is working hard to support you and help you learn. It's never been easier than before to break into AI. So if you want to build a career, you can leverage online resources available, including open source code, datasets, papers, and online courses like a deep learning specialization on Coursera. As part of this journey, I hope you get your hands dirty too. Don't be afraid of diving in to build your own project, or go ahead and try to replicate a research paper that you're excited about. One thing that I've seen help a lot of people succeed is if you can build a community or find a community of fellow deep learners you can meet with and study with on a regular basis. In fact, I hope that this Pine AI meetup that you're at right now will be a good place for you to meet these people. I hope you enjoyed the event today and that you learn a lot both from the talks and from each other. And once again, welcome to the deeplearning.ai community.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So as Andrew has said, it is not very hard to actually break into AI, and it's a very exciting industry to get into. And I'm actually really excited to share with you some of the techniques and tips how we can actually get there. Some of it he mentioned is about building your own projects. It's about just being curious and learning various like different fields that you're interested in, and going from there. And um, what we are going to share with you today are just like some of the tips and tactics that we can do that going forward. So just to get started, let's go with how to build actually the skill set that we need to do in order to just be even considered within the industry and to understand how to actually thrive within the industry. So it's building about your AI skill set is a tough challenge. There is a lot to learn. And it doesn't work exactly the same way that it would work as if it was just like software engineering or normal programming. In the normal programming, you write a script. In your script, you have like conditional statements. If you've ever written Python or C++, or even you've seen code before, there is usually a logic to follow. There's a syntax or a grammar to follow, if else statements, while something, do something, or until something happens, do something else. So you just like write the script and write the structure. With AI, it doesn't work like that. You give the computer data and you give your computer your output that you want that data to map to. The computer figures out its own script. Like normal programming, you write the instructions for a computer execute that instructions. In AI, you give the data to computer, the computer figures out its own instructions. So, and when it figures out its own instructions, it puts it into some kind of file. We call that a model. Think of it as a function that you can run. You give it input, it gives you output, and then that function is trained by data to map the input to output. That's it. That's what AI is. And all the data analysis and algorithms that goes behind it is about building this model, and it's about understanding your data as you go forward with that. What I want to do today is to break down AI for you a bit further. So when we talk about AI, we have three different fields in there. We have artificial intelligence, we have machine learning, and we have deep learning. So with deep learning, it's more about building neural networks. With machine learning, it's about statistical algorithms that you use to basically map input to output. So it's a bit more like a higher level, and it encompasses deep learning. And with artificial intelligence, we actually we will talk about like various different fields within AI. So if you just like move my head over here, you can see that actually there is a big range of problems within artificial intelligence, from like planning, learning, natural language processing. Like you can, if you go on Wikipedia, you can see all of the various different topics that AI covers. What we're more interested in is the machine learning and deep learning part, where you actually use statistical methods and algorithms to actually map input data to output data, so that the computer writes its own instructions. Deep learning is a bit more, I guess, a hardcore, because you have to learn how neural networks work and you have to be able to program them. There are a couple of like frameworks out there, such as TensorFlow that you might have heard of, or PyTorch, but we will get into that as we go forward. But necessarily, when we get first into it, it's more about learning a bit of maths, doing a bit of machine learning, then you go do a bit of deep learning, and like you just like dip around a bit more until like you get a bit more further comfortable going forward. Now, the thing is, when people think about AI, just a second, sorry, I was just wanted to move my head. So when we're talking about AI and data science, people think that when they break into data science as a career, they will leave their career behind, the previous career experiences they have. It doesn't work like that, because the good thing with AI careers is that once you break into it, all the previous knowledge that you have will be still useful to you. So if I'm an engineer, if I'm a chartered engineer, and I worked in the industry for 5 years as an engineer, and I broke into data science, all of that knowledge that I have is my substantiated experience. Is that red circle we see in this Venn diagram. And the other skills, hacking skills, programming with Python, like R, and maths and statistic knowledge that I studied myself, or I went into took a course or took a degree. All of that will just like complete the yellow and gray circles for me, so that I become a great data scientist. I become a good data scientist, that I can do my job properly and go from there. The field is vast though. So the data science ecosystem and the startups is huge. Like as you can see in this slide that's been prepared by one of the by one of the venture capitalist firms in California. There is so many technologies out there. There's so many different startups out there, as well as tools from AWS, like cloud services, to Google Cloud, and all the various like the tools for data engineering, for data science, and so on. It can be a bit more overwhelming, as I would say, in order to break into AI. However, don't fret, because you don't need to learn all of this. People specialize in different fields that they interest them. So if you're like interested in infrastructure, you can go into infrastructure for AI. You can go into machine learning for AI, or you can go into like building enterprise applications with AI technologies. Or you can work on open source projects. You can work on data engineering or data science projects. So like the field is massive. You're not bound to one industry. So AI as a field, you're not bound to one industry. You can like work in different industries, from health and healthcare, from like transport, like art, creative, and you can still bring your AI skills to that industry. So you don't even have to like, if you don't want to work in a specific industry, you can just skip it and go to an industry that you enjoy working in. If I just move my head again up here, so data science technologies are huge. There's a lot of data science technologies out there if you want to learn data science skills. One of the things I did is I went on LinkedIn and I searched all the data science jobs as data scientists, machine learning engineers and stuff. And I wanted to just get an understanding of like, what are all the stuff that people want us to learn if you want to break into AI. And this is it. Like this tree is everything you need to learn. Like if you learn this, you're good. Like you're gonna get a job, I guarantee you, in a year or something. If you take a year to learn this stuff, you're good. However, this is a lot to learn. And normally this is what's required of a data science team, not a data science person. So even if you like specialize in one area of this tree, like let's say top left and right, like become a machine learning engineer who's really good at maths, or become a data science consultant who also knows a bit about DevOps and cloud computing, or become a data visualization expert who knows about the data visualizations and web development or product and software engineering. Like if you just like pick and choose like stuff that you like to learn and go from there, it maximizes your chances of breaking into the industry. And these are like all the relevant skills that you want to learn. Like that's it. Like DevOps, cloud computing, soft skills, so you can actually talk to people, don't be a weirdo. Maths and statistics, deep learning, data engineering, all of this stuff is actually like really useful if you want to break into the industry. And I also put some big data engineering skill sets in here as well, because some of these data sets that you will work with are huge. So I'm not talking about thousands, I'm talking about millions of rows of data. And normally this is not possible with Excel or even your own Python interpreter on your local machine. So you normally will have to do some cloud computing on the cloud using the big data engineering technologies in order to manipulate your data and go from there. From all the programming languages, only pick one. Like Python is a good one, or R. And if you start learning about different ML technologies and different ML algorithms, that's fine too. It's more about learning the general concepts and just understanding where different things fit into this, like the data knowledge map. And the different courses you take on the internet, so for example, Coursera deep learning courses, if you take them, will focus on the red circle and the black circle. And another course you might take is with AWS or with GCP, it will focus on the green circle and the pink circle. If you take another course on web development, it goes on the blue circle. And definitely take a course on getting version control and product and software engineering, so that you can also get a bit more around there and just become a well-rounded data scientist when you want to break into the industry. And people will ask you questions about these in interviews. I will ask questions when I interview people. And when they know this stuff, it's just a bliss. Like people will love you. People would love to hire you. People would love to work with you if you just like take some time to learn these things. You don't need to become an expert in all of them. Just learn some of the basics to just help you get there. So that's what my recommendation is, and it's all in there. This is all the stuff that people want from LinkedIn job postings. However, they don't want it all of at the same time, just like bits of them, like the way of the combinations I've just mentioned. So going forward, where to start? Like, how can we get started? My recommendation is very simple. Don't get bogged down into the details I showed you in the previous slides. You have access to the slides at the link in the description below. What I would suggest you to do is just take 2 courses for now. One is take a Python course. There are lots of free Python courses out there. Just start learning a bit of Python and programming. There are some really good introductory free Python courses out there. Just get you started with Python. It's a very easy language to learn. I've recommended it as your first language if you've never done programming before. And I would also recommend you take the Coursera Learn How to Learn course, because it will help you understand how you can cram in like various sorts of different information. I will also show you like what to do to not get overwhelmed when you're doing courses, because one of the things would happen is you're learning some stuff and then they give you more concepts on top and more concepts on top and more concepts on top, and you're just like, holy shit, you get really overwhelmed. So I have a system for that as well to manage with that. I will share with you in a moment. My recommendation is construct your own self-education curriculum. So learn Python and R really well. One of them is fine. You don't need to learn both. Depend on what you want to do. So R is for more researchers and statisticians. Like they have like an ecosystem of various visualization libraries, which could be richer than Python. Python is more for like general programming. If you want to like do web dev or data science or still visualizations, it has a rich ecosystem as well. I would say par to R. My recommendation is learn Python, and then learn the other concepts afterwards. And also don't get bogged down into details. Like if you started like you want to learn machine learning and you want to do some machine learning, do a course that just like throws you deep into the deep end and helps you do some machine learning, so you can see the machine learning in action, and you don't get bogged down with the details of like linear algebra and mathematics and the statistics behind the algorithms. See how machine learning works first, like write some code, make it work. Then if you want to understand how it works under the hood, you can go and take those hardcore courses where it teaches you the linear algebra and those things. Deep learning has really good courses. Deep learning AI has really good courses on machine learning. We will also run some free courses ourselves, some free webinars going forward, where I will teach you, or other members in my community will teach you some of these techniques, and a bit like a demo of like how machine learning works in action in actual live code. These are some of my recommendation courses. You can view them on the slides. You have access to them in the link description below. That you can go from there. I have also, one of the things I've done is for myself when I was developing my own self-development, education curriculum. I went on the internet and I looked at all the courses I liked, like I wanted to take. I thought they're high quality courses, and I basically put them into this spreadsheet. And it contains everything from topics like computer science to deep learning, machine learning, mathematics, statistics, software engineering, version control, startups, like all of that. It's all there. How to get a career, like break into AI. All of that is in here. I recommend you go check it out. There was also the links to each of the courses, how long I think they would take you to do at a 12-hour week effort. Like you can also see the status I put there for myself, like if I completed them or not, and also the cost of them. Some of them are like monthly subscriptions, some of them are free. So definitely check it out. It will help you figure out like how to build your self-curriculum education. And just basically when you're building your self-curriculum, just like pick and choose from this, and like I put some stuff on top, some stuff at the middle, some stuff at the end, and then just go through them one by one. And my recommendation, do stuff you enjoy. Study the courses you really love, you're curious about. And I think that emotion of curiosity will take you there. And one day you will look back and you see, holy shit, like I've learned so much. Like I know how to do AI now. I know how to visualize data. I'm a data scientist. And you will feel confident in yourself enough that you can like go into hackathons and you can go into like competitions, and you start like like doing amazing work, winning competitions and getting job interviews and getting job offers left and right. So that's about building the skills. What I recommend is, this is a long journey. So if you want to continue this journey going forward, develop a routine. So routine is king in this area. And by routine, I mean every day I wake up at 7 a.m. At 9 a.m., I will eat my breakfast. At 10 a.m., I will study until 2 p.m. every day. Or let's say on weekends, if I can't do weekdays, on weekdays, evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., I will study. Weekends, I will do 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., I will study. And this is like an appointment with a doctor. So like put an appointment in your calendar for yourself, commit to this, tell your friends about it that you're going to commit to this, and study and follow the routine. And routine is like losing weight. Like you have to stick to the diet. This is your diet now. Like if you want to break into AI and you have to study and learn the skills, think of it as your diet. Just like follow it, and think of it as like this is you have a session with your PT, or you have a session with your doctor. You cannot like break away from this. And normally the way it works is emotions follow actions. So if you're not feeling like it, sit down behind the computer for 5 minutes, just go through the videos or through the course or do your project for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. The feeling will come to you, like the motivation to continue forward will come to you, and then like suddenly you realize you put your head up and it's like 3 hours passed and you've done like so much of your courses and so much of your education already, and you've learned so much. So definitely do that. I would also recommend develop a mental mastery, and be patient with yourself. Enjoy the journey, and don't put it hard on yourself. It's a long journey. It's more like a marathon, not a sprint. So my recommendation is, normally it would take you about 6 months to 1 year to break into AI if you know nothing about the industry, you've never programmed before in your life. You start with a simple programming in Python, and then you go into like different concepts, different courses, and then like you look back within a year and you see like you've learned so much, and everyone's looking like how are you working with AI? Like I want to do that as well. So just take your time with it, enjoy the content, enjoy the course, do it like study the courses as you have coffee, and like do it on your weekends and or weekday evenings, and you will get there. This is also something I produce for myself. There is an article I found on Entrepreneur magazine. It's called 50 Thoughts That Can Motivate You to Do Anything. Normally, like those days that I feel down, I call this the motivation pill. So I put those headings from that article and put together this poster for myself, and like printed it, posted on the wall. And like those days, I feel like a bit like, oh, this is just taking so much time, and like nobody is interviewing me, or like all these applications I sent out is rejected, or holy shit, like so much to learn, like I still just like scratched the surface and stuff like that. Like I have those thoughts. I just read this 1 to 50, like top to bottom. I read this poster, and it just like brings me back to my mood to like continue going forward. So that's why I call it the motivation pill. It's like a pill you eat, and like you're suddenly like, yeah, fuck this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go forward and do this. So you can also download it. I will put it will be on our Slack channel, so there's a link on the Slack channel in the description. So if you join our Slack channel for Beginners Machine Learning group, you would be able to access this post. I think I posted it there. And then the other thing about building expertise is study technical courses that interest you, as I mentioned, enjoy the journey, and keep a log of all the courses and topics that you come across. So do you remember I mentioned, and you might be overwhelmed, and because there's so much content, so much concepts, like when I showed you the tree of knowledge that we had when I was looking at the LinkedIn job descriptions. If you keep a log, I use a Kanban board, like an app called Trello. You can also use Todoist as well. They have Kanban boards that you can have, and like categorize concepts, categorize courses into like, this is deep learning course, this is like a computer science course, and so on. And any course you want to do or any concepts you come across, just put it on a card, drop it in there. So this is what it looks like basically. And you can have like when you put in yourself a curriculum, you can have like in this structure, or you can have your own structure in any way you want. Doesn't matter like what your buckets look like, but these are all buckets, and you just drop cards into them. It could be concepts, it could be courses you want to do, and this is like how you can build yourself a curriculum, or you can just manage the flow of information coming to you. So if you learn a concept and you're like, oh, I need to learn this and I need to learn that, mothball it or car park it into this board, and just like put it on cork board to come back to it later once you finish with your current course. And in this way, you go through all the concepts gradually throughout the year, and then you suddenly finish your. And there's normally the way it works is that there's an exponential curve, as in terms of when you start, you don't know much about anything, so you start learning, and then you start learning about things that you don't know, and there's a lot of like there's an exponential curve. It goes up like that, and at some point it will come back up like this. There's so much to learn in a field. Like at some point it will finish, right? How much knowledge do we have humans on this area? It's a new area, data science. It's just come into being. The algorithms been there before, but it's since these days that the technology has advanced so much that now we can use these algorithms and like make AI the way it is today. And because of that, it's a novel field. The universities just started teaching it just 2-3 years ago. So yeah, it will take some time, and there aren't many concepts as such. Once you manage all the information like this, you will get to the end and you will tap yourself on the back. You pat yourself on the back and say, yes, I did it. The other thing I would suggest is teach or write papers or blog posts or make YouTube videos and tutorials. So this ties in with the second concept we will talk to you today, which is personal branding. When I say teach and write courses, this is exactly what I'm doing right now. For example, I'm teaching you how to break into AI. So in the same time, I'm building my own personal brand. And I recommend you do the same. That's how you get known within the industry. So don't just sit down and do courses. No one will care other than yourself. No one cares about certifications. Just let me put that out there. I don't care about certifications when I interview people as a data science hiring manager. Nobody cares about certifications. People care about the projects you do. People care about the courses you've made. People care about the blog posts you've written. So that's why I say teach and write, because when you just do courses, there is this hierarchy of Bloom taxonomy. When you are creating content, you are actually at top of this pyramid. Like when you're teaching and when you're creating content, you're writing blog posts, you're creating projects of your own, you're adding to your portfolio, you're helping your friend break into AI and all of those things, whilst you study courses, you are going up this ladder. At the beginning, when you don't know nothing, you need to start at the bottom. You need to basically do a course and start remembering the concepts, understanding them at the next level, then try to apply them in code, write your own code and understand how the concepts applied into code, and then sit down and analyze what just happened, like how does the code work, and then you evaluate, which is basically mean, you understand your like from your analysis, you get some insights, and then you evaluate those insights, and then you come to this massive understanding where you can then afterwards teach it. So teaching is at the highest level. Creating content is you get so comfortable with the concepts and with the ideas that you can actually, when you get to the top level, you can teach it and other people can understand. One filter I use is if I cannot teach it to someone, if you learn something and you cannot talk, if you cannot go to someone who doesn't know anything about AI and try to teach that concept to them, and you can't, you haven't learned that concept properly. So I use it as a filter to understand how much in a field or in a specific area of AI, I'm like, I need to do some more work and studying and doing more work. So that's why I say try to teach and write papers and blog posts and YouTube videos going forward, because it will also help you build your brand. One of the things I did was I started this meetup group, Beginners Machine Learning, and I just basically made my own workshops. So I went on Meetup and I couldn't find like a Meetup group where like you could go to workshops. People were just like doing like reviewing papers and like doing like talking about like their company products and stuff like that. And I just found it like a bit like demoralizing and just boring. And I wanted to like make it more exciting for people who have know nothing about machine learning and want to get into it. And that's why we decided to build Beginners Machine Learning. It's good for personal branding and professional branding, but also at the same time, it helps me teach, which is something I'm passionate about. And it will also, it's about sharing knowledge as well. And I would recommend you do the same. And this is how you get job in AI. This is how you get known, and this is how you get the job in the AI. We will get into it once we go to the next section talking about personal branding. I will also recommend, so there is one other thing as well, is I said certifications are shit, no one cares about them. That is not true for cloud certifications. So if you have to sit an exam, so so for certifications or for courses where you have to sit an exam or you have to do a tremendous amount of project work, those certifications usually get more value because they're harder to get. So if you go on data camp and you do one course that would take you 3 hours to finish and you get a certificate from that, that certificate is not very valuable. If you sit down and do 60 hours of that courses and you get a certificate at the end, that certificate is more valuable, like because there is amount of effort that gone into it. Azure, AWS, and GCP cloud certifications, they are very hard to get. So you need to study a tremendous amount, at least 60 hours. Raghav will tell you more about them and how he managed to get them. I myself studied for, so one of the things I did, I studied for Microsoft Azure Data Science Associate exam. And that took me 2 months to study, because there's so much content to learn. Not only I need to learn concepts in deep learning AI and programming, I will also need to learn concepts in cloud and how to run things in the cloud. Imagine having access to lots of computer resources at your fingertips. So that's why I wanted to learn those cloud technologies. So like if my computer cannot do anything for me, which normally will run into in AI, because you probably wouldn't have a GPU in your laptop, you can run those AI models trainings in the cloud. And you can actually train an AI model in the cloud, and doing those certifications would be really good for you. And the other thing as well, becoming certified by professional bodies. For example, if you want to become a project manager and manage AI projects, go do an APM qualification. Do an APM fundamentals qualification or professional qualification. APM stands for Association of Project Management. If you're an engineer, get chartered with an engineering institution, such as Institution of Mechanical Engineers or Institution of Civil Engineers, and so on. Same thing with healthcare, same thing with like all the other industries. Like become chartered in your industry, like where you are right now, and that will give you credibility when you want to break into data science, because you have the domain knowledge and domain expertise. And remember, domain expertise is one of those circles I talked to you about in that Venn diagram, where it was that I think purple circle at the beginning, where the other circle was hacking skills and the other circle was your maths and statistics knowledge. And at the end, build something. So you can get certification exams, you can study courses, you can teach and write the things that you learn, or you can build something. So if you're not into putting yourself in front of cameras, in front of other people, or like you're not very comfortable in teaching, you don't like it, you can always build something. And this is where GitHub would be really useful. Like on GitHub, you can go and publish your code and publish your projects and build something really interesting with AI. Like one of the ideas I had the other day was like take a lot of pictures from plants and build an app, build an AI app that would classify these plants once you point your camera at different plants and will tell you like, oh, this plant needs to be watered like every month. This plant needs to be watered like every 2 weeks. And like this is like an interesting project to work on, and you can actually start this if you want. I'm not gonna trademark this idea, but yeah, you can like do something like this and build a project of your own with the data that you create and go from there. And these kind of things really would impress hiring managers and really impress like people if you want to like get into co-founders. These are also some of the pathways of certifications I just put here on the slides if you want to have a look. I'm just going to skip over them because there are like various all sorts of different concepts. You can have a look at them on the AWS and GCP websites. There are also a couple of books I recommend on developing AI expertise and skills. If you want to learn data science, I recommend data science from scratch. Learn Python programming, then take that book and go through it. Hands-on machine learning with scikit-learn, Keras, and TensorFlow are also a really great book covering all of the various machine learning concepts with scikit-learn, which is a library for machine learning with Python. Deep learning with Python and is very useful for learning a neural network. So Francis Challet is the author of Keras, one of the most, and like basically one of the libraries that got merged with TensorFlow and one of the most popular deep learning libraries. Python for data analysis, if you want to get good at pandas and NumPy, two libraries that are very useful for data analysis and wrangling tables in data science. You will use that quite a lot. And if you're more interested in natural language processing, I put some books as well at the bottom. And I will also recommend reading some books on statistics and on fundamentals of visualization. So there is an art and there is a science behind how you visualize data, and that's in these books. And if you want more like a Bible, like a Bible that you can work with, I recommend Python Machine Learning. That's a 500-page, 600-page book. You can put it on your top of your bed and just like read through it every time. Like it's a reference book, I guess, rather than like you won't read it back to back. It's just huge. But it's a useful book to have. So these are all the books I recommend if you want to get started on building your AI expertise other than courses. There's also a list of courses I provided at the slides at the top, and you can go from there. As always, I think if I just check the chat, I don't see any questions posted. Feel free to post any questions. Raghav, if you're on the call as well, post questions as well yourself to generate the break the barrier, break the ice, and we will try to answer your questions. So if you have any questions about developing expertise and developing your AI skills, post them below. Like if you think there's a skill set that you can skip, or is there a skill set that you need to learn, feel free to post them and we will answer them once we get to the Q&A session. So the next section that we're going to talk about is going to be about building a personal brand. So we've already a bit talked about this a bit more, but we will get into it further. And building a personal brand, it's about getting well known in the industry enough that like people come to you for jobs and for projects and for hiring rather than you going to them. So this is what happened with me when I was trying to get jobs. I was applying for a couple of jobs. I couldn't get any of them. And I started attending some hackathons and I was teaching as well. And I was just like doing different sort of stuff. And the company that I work for now, they approached me after I basically won some of those hackathons, or I got a bit more well known by just doing teaching and stuff, instead of me having to like, go out there and sell myself, just because I've done that work already in the background. And here are some of the things you can do as well. Let me just move my head again. It's always in the way. I apologize profusely. All right, so how to put yourself out there. My recommendation is think about your experience you have right now and the roles that you have in the past, and then think about what industry and roles you like to be in within AI. So AI is, there are like several roles: data engineer, data scientist, data analyst, BI analyst, like a machine learning engineer. There are articles out there that will separate out what these mean. Um, to give you an idea, data engineer is more to do with, works with lots of data, builds databases, data pipelining, and all those things, so that then the data scientist can analyze that data and build machine learning models, or the machine learning engineer just focuses on building machine learning models. And BI analysis is about like then using that model or using different data sets to visualize the data so that the business can get value from it by building dashboards and visualizations. So like there are different roles out there. Figure out which industry you like to work in most. Is it healthcare? Is it transport? Is it like social science industries? Like where do you like to work? Which industry? And go from there. Right now, most of the companies that are using AI at the moment, again, if I move my head, are IT industries. So tech use a lot of their data. Tech industries, they generate lots of data, or they take data from various other industries and they make tech in that space. So that's why IT is always at the top. Especially to do things to do with detecting security intrusions, resolving users' technology problems, and so on. Then there is marketing. Ad tech industries is huge as well. There's a lot of data on ads, people clicking on adverts, and how people behave online, social media. So because there's a lots of data in that regards, these industries are kind of hot with AI, because AI, what it does, it helps you automate, it helps you forecast the future. And if you have data, you can do that because history repeats itself, right? Finance, accounting, customer service as well are like one of those industries that use AI. However, this is not bound to just these. Transport industry, I would actually recommend you focus on industries where AI is not yet prominently used. Transport is one of them, especially rail in the UK. Other industries could be like healthcare have been using them now nicely, but like there could be other industries, agriculture, for example. Like, what's your background? What fields of your background have not used AI, and try to learn AI so that you can apply it there and solve the problems there. And that's how you can actually make the biggest impact. And that's how you can actually make a name for yourself and build your personal branding. Don't go into something where there's lots of people in there already, and like they're already doing lots of stuff there that you will have a hard time standing out from the crowd. There are a couple of AI trends as well. So other than industry, the technology as well. Chatbots, for example, are very popular these days. Computer vision is very popular. I have a course on it in 2 weeks' time. Make sure to sign up. Then we have AI on edge. So that's basically on edge devices. I have one of them with me at the moment, I think. Just give me a second. I think it should be down here. There you go. This is a edge device. So this device, you can actually load an AI model on it. If I just switch back to my video. So this is called the NVIDIA Jetson TX2. And this is a proper edge device. It's very powerful. You can run AI models on it, and its whole job is to just basically make predictions with using AI. So you load the AI model in here. It's like a mini computer. Like it runs on Linux machine, and it has a fan as well. It has GPU cores. I think about like 256 CUDA GPU cores. Like you learn how to work with this. It's very exciting as well. Like working with this kind of like tech. And you can actually build computer vision projects, or you can build like load AI models in there and then like put them out there in the real world, and like they do stuff for you. Connect the camera to it, and they can actually like do stuff with AI that like no other human can. And sometimes AI, when they specialize, they can do things much better than humans can do. So these are like some of the trends. Autonomous vehicles, deep reinforcement learning, Lots of words in here. If you Google them, you will learn a bit more about them. But this is where most things are at. Predictive analytics as well, like in terms of like volume, it's getting much bigger. Like it's actually not that big as big as chatbots, but it's still in terms of growth, it's going really up. So use these data sets, use these data visualizations to understand what you need to do going forward. So in the next slide, we're going to talk about how you actually go about building your personal brand after you have decided to work with which industry and which role. So the first thing I recommend to do is create a GitHub account to act as your portfolio, and start a blog and become active on LinkedIn. Basically, these are what I recommend the most. This is how I built my own LinkedIn profile, and on GitHub. There are a couple of tips I would just suggest here. So if you have a GitHub account, GitHub is where you host your code, and it's like a for version control system. Basically, if you let's start from LinkedIn. So if you have a LinkedIn account, make sure that there is your picture is well professional. You can buy LinkedIn Gold as well if you want to reach out to people and try to get hired. I will also include your title is well presented, and your about section is very well concise, and it encompasses all your experience and what you want to do in the future going forward and what you're passionate about. So this brings, when recruiters come, when hiring managers come to you, or when people check your profile, they can know what you stand about and what your background is. And I would also remove all of the experiences that are not relevant to AI or not relevant to the background that build your domain knowledge. So remove those experiences and just focus the experiences on something, so people can categorize you very easily in their heads. They're like, oh, this is the data science guy. That's the data engineer guy. That's the BI guy. That's a data gal. I want you to be able to I want people to be able to categorize you well like that. And focus on building your network. So the more people you have on LinkedIn, don't go about sending LinkedIn connections, but more go to meetup events, talk to people, build relationships, and then later on those relationships will come to save you when it comes to your career and it comes to opportunities that will present itself. For your technical profile, so LinkedIn is your professional profile, your technical profile is LinkedIn. Normally hiring managers wouldn't use it. They may use it, but if they do, they will check your profile. And if you have some projects that you can showcase when you do interviews, or when hiring managers look at your LinkedIn, definitely do so. Try to strategically pin a couple of repositories that you have that showcase various different technologies, especially if it's data science or not. And try to keep your daily write code and commit them to your different projects, and keep that bar that you see at the bottom, you see here, keep that green. So basically those are all the days that you have been programming and you have been committing code to GitHub. So the greener this looks, the more it shows about how passionate you are about programming and how much you're actually working on your projects. So one of the things that hiring managers might look at, they might just look at that, and then they see, oh, this guy or this girl has been they really love what they do. They really love programming. So they might be a good fit for the company. They might be a good fit culturally, and they might also know a lot about various different technical skill sets that we might want them to have. And if you have, I have also have a chart diamond here as well. Don't just commit code. So don't just sit down and every day do program. Engage with the open source community as well. Go open issues about open source technologies. Try to send pull requests, which basically means you write a piece of code that says, I think if you replace that piece of code with my piece of code, your program will run better, or improve the documentation of those open source projects by sending them PR requests. That's the term we use in Git, and it will help you basically build this into a more like a diamond shape here that shows you that you don't just commit code, you actually review as well. You send issues, you open issues, you do commits. So like you're more like a well-rounded programmer and engineer. And have some organizations that you're part of. It could be coding organizations. You could have your own organization, and showcase them, and also have a blog that you share those links on both LinkedIn and on GitHub. And this would help you like improve your this would help you improve your branding as you add to these profiles going forward. So that's all I have to say in terms of like personal branding. Teaching was one of them that I mentioned before. The other things I would recommend is attending hackathons or competitions once you feel comfortable that you've learned quite enough. You will reach that stage that you will know, okay, all of these courses are doing the same, saying me the same stuff. And I'm too bored now watching through these videos. Like when you reach that stage, you know that you're ready for competitions and you're ready for hackathons. However, don't let that deter you. If you even not reach that stage, hackathons is one of the best ways for you to like maximize your learning curve. As in, you do one hackathon, in 2 days you learn so much that it might take you 1 month to learn, because you work with other people who are better than you, and you learn from them, and you see like the tools they use, you see the technologies they use, and they might teach you some of those technologies, and you work on a specific project for like 48 hours in a go, and like you learn so much about that technology in 48 hours that it would take you 3 months if you just sit down and watch courses. So that's why I say hackathons, because that also, if you win some of them, or you become like, you do well in some of them, it starts building your personal brand, and you might gradually get well known as that guy who knows quite a lot about themselves in tech. I would also recommend joining Kaggle competitions and finding role models in the field that you can learn from and study from them. I think, for example, the chief data scientist at Google could be one, the chief data scientist at Apple or Deliveroo. Like, find these people in your LinkedIn, like search them on LinkedIn and see how they've done with their career, and use them as your role models, and see how they've got to the top of the field like that, and then you do the same and follow their footsteps. If it's proven for them, it might prove the same for you as well. And lastly, reach out to senior people in the industry and ask them to mentor you. So if you know someone who like you admire, or you think they know more data science than you, or they're working in the AI, and you want to know more about that, and just message them and say, hey, like Jack, I'm really interested in getting into AI. I was thinking about like what your thoughts are on this, and how did you get yourself into AI, and what are your tips and advice for me in order to do so as well. I'm happy to go out for a coffee on me. Coffee and lunch, whatever is on me. Just like come out. I want to have a chat with you. It would be interesting to know. That's it. Do that with people you admire. They would love to do that. People love to tell you about their life stories and the challenges they've solved, and just talking about themselves. So it would help you get pick their brain and get a lot of their knowledge, and it would also help you learn inner inside knowledge that will actually get you the jobs when you go and apply in the industry to the various jobs that you have. So just as a finisher, before I give the scene to Raghav, so I will cut the stream now after I finish these last few slides, and then Raghav will jump in. Let me just message him so that he's ready. And he will also talk to you about his story and how he managed to get into it, and there are some tips that he will share. So basically, so before we go to that, let me talk about Kaggle as well. So Kaggle is basically where you go and you do data science competitions. Very good resource, just because you can learn quite a lot. They provide you with data sets as well as free GPU and free compute resources. So you can actually run deep learning code in there, train AI models, and don't have to pay for any of those resources that you normally have to pay for when you work with AWS, GCP, and Azure. So I recommend that, and it would help you build a profile as well. Raghav will talk to you about Kaggle a bit more, because he's been doing quite a lot of competitions there. Crowd AI is another resource that enables data science experts to solve real world problems. For example, both of these websites, when there was this pandemic going on, they started publishing a lot of data sets on the pandemic and asking people to please analyze this for us and help researchers figure out which research papers would be most useful to read now. If you want able to build a vaccine of all of these papers, please use write an algorithms that would crawl through all of these documents and find you all the relevant documents that you need to look at and stuff. So those were some of the competitions that were posted previously. There is also DevPost, which is a great resource for finding hackathons. So if you're looking for some hackathons in your city, use DevPost. My company as well, we do run hackathons every year. There is one coming in as well in November called Hackatrain. So the next one will be Hackatrain VII, where previously, before the pandemic, you would sit down in trains and they would take you to Europe and different cities around UK. And different cities around UK, the Europe, like Berlin and stuff, and you code on the train as well as in the hotels when you get there. And at the end, you would come back to London, and then you have to present your solution to the industry, top of the industries in rail industry and in infrastructure industries in the UK. So, but this year will be virtual, but you still can attend, and there still be top of the industries in transport that will be listening in. And that's one of the best ways to build your brand if you want to get into AI. So hackathons, DevPost, and Hackatrain are really good examples. Hackatrain is one of the ways I got my job that I have right now. So I'm just putting that out there. So that's what you can do for maximizing your chances of getting a job in the industry and building your skill sets, so that you don't go and do stuff that you don't have to, and you don't go and do stuff, you don't go and learn stuff that you don't need to. So I hope it's been really useful. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat. Raghav will be answering them. Now I will switch over the stream to Raghav. So I will cut the stream now. You might see a circling dot in the screen while we switch streams, and Raghav will come on and will talk to you about his presentation and his journey on how he broke into AI. And I will be answering your questions as well in the chat. So feel free to reach out as we go forward. See you in a bit. Into AI. And I will be answering your questions as well in the chat. So feel free to reach out as we go forward.
Hi everyone, my name is Raghav, Raghav Dev, and as
I will be answering your questions as well in the chat.
just give me a minute, I'm just gonna mute my.
As we go forward.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so my name is Raghav Dev, and as Ali mentioned, I have a very similar sort of journey to share that Ali has gone through, and in this presentation, I'm just gonna share through my thoughts on how I transitioned. So I started off my career as an aerospace engineer. I graduated in 2016, and I took my first job as an aerodynamicist or a CFD engineer in 2016. So for 2 years, I worked in one engineering consultancy. At that time, I didn't know data science and machine learning sort of really existed. It's only after I graduated I came to know about the field of data science and machine learning. So I'd done a bit of MATLAB back at uni and at my placement, but I hadn't learned about the data science in itself when I graduated. So first 2 years I just focused my career as an aerodynamicist. Then I transitioned, I came to know about data science and I started to get interested into it. So 2018 is when I started my journey of transitioning from being an aerodynamics engineer or a CFD engineer into being a data scientist. So I changed my job just around that time to another engineering consultancy as a CFD engineer, which is Atkins. And at the same time as when I started to sort of learn data science and decided to, really sort of get into it and pursue it as a career in future. So I started my first year was basically just building the skills. So this is pretty much similar to what Ali shared in terms of the journey itself of learning the core Python and the data science libraries. The following 6 months is basically around building the experience and networking, and the following 6 months is again around building the brand itself, as in projecting myself as a data scientist, and being out there and projecting to the world that I'm open to sort of data science opportunities. And then that's very recently, in October 2020 is when so that's just last year, is when I started my first sort of permanent data science role. So I have had data science experience before that, which I'll talk through. But October 2020 is when I sort of made a permanent and official transition to data science. So building the skills. So the first year when I basically got started, the very first challenge is where to start. There is plenty of courses, plenty of skills to learn, but I just picked one that I feel I should focus on, which had maximum coverage. So the idea is around, again, getting very good at Python initially. Once you know Python, get into data science libraries in Python, which is NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, scikit-learn, and other, and a bit of maths and statistics as well. I come from an engineering background, so I already had that sort of maths and statistics background, so I didn't have to spend a lot of time around that. But definitely, if you come from a different background, there's scope to learn maths and statistics before you kind of understand what's going on in data science. So yeah, for the first 6 months to a year is purely focused in acquiring these basic skills of data science. Pick one, I would say, data science course or bootcamp which has maximum coverage from my experience. Focus on that, get comfortable with Python first, and then get comfortable with at least the basics of these machine learning / data science frameworks. So at least Pandas, Matplotlib, scikit-learn, I think they are the core of what forms as the basics of data science in Python. So once you get comfortable with it, once you start to know, what you're doing with Pandas and what you're doing with Matplotlib, how to pull out a plot when you want to visualize at some data, that's when you start diversifying your learning resources. So once you know what you're doing, start to look at other resources like books, blogs, and videos on YouTube. So it's only up to the point where you kind of get comfortable is when you kind of look at one resource. After that, you start diversifying. And as you're doing that, even the practice things that you do, even the normal simple exercise that you do on data science, make sure you publish that on Git. Even if it looks very, very simple, start publishing on Git and start putting yourself out there as a data scientist from the very beginning. And I think one of the most important things I did in the first year when I was learning data science and doing these courses was every opportunity that I found at work to visualize data, to process data, or to do something with data, I would use what I've learned as my Python or Pandas skills and apply that straight away to work. Try to find every opportunity that you can where you can use data to kind of use your Python and data science skills to go through it. So that was the first bit. And then remember, acquiring the skills is what is going to take majority of your it's going to take a lot of time before you can start getting experience and getting into the other things. So this takes time and patience. So be very patient with yourself. Next is building your experience and networking. So once you're comfortable wrangling data, once you're comfortable when you know the workflow of what a machine learning project looks like from end to end, so starting with exploratory data analysis, and then you start looking at data, doing modeling, and then publishing your model as a service itself. Once you know what the flow of a data science project is, or what the flow of a machine learning project is, you want to really start building some experience that is based on not practice data sets, but on real life data sets that can solve real life problems. Because real world data sets look very different to the practice data sets that you go through when you're doing boot camps and tutorials. They're very messy, they're much larger, and there is a lot of problems that you come across when you actually start working on real world problems in data sets. And so I think there are a few ways you can do that. One of the first things I would say I started off with, the order doesn't really matter, but one of the first things that I started off with was hackathons. there are different sources where you can find hackathons. There's Meetup, Eventbrite, DevPost, and as Ali mentioned, there are other sources as well. But hackathons is one of the best ways, I would say, to get an insight onto what's going on in the industry. You can participate in different industries, in hackathons of different industries, so you get a glance of what data science problem looks like for that particular industry. Also, what sort of data sets are available, and how you can what sort of problems are there, how you can address those problems. And in the hackathons, you'll also come across domain experts who will give an idea of what's going on in the industry, and by that what industry you might be interested in. So I think hackathon was a sort of a perfect glance into every industry out there, and picking the right industry for you and what sort of data science problems you want to work on. Next is community projects. So obviously, I also participated in community projects apart from hackathons. At the moment, COVID-19 is the sort of hot topic in community, and there's a lot of data science projects and machine learning projects going on in different fields, including computer vision, NLP, and even tabular data set and classification, regression, all of these. Obviously, there are other topics out there that you might be interested in, but I feel there is a lot out there on COVID-19. So I'll share a couple of examples that I participated in, and which has obviously led to not just experience, but also fruitful results in terms of just making sure my stream is still live. Yeah. So hackathons. One of the major hackathons I attended quite a few of them, but one of the main ones that I attended, which led into a project, a full-fledged commercial project, which gave me the most data science experience before I started my permanent data science job, was again HackTrain, same as what Ali mentioned, and how he got into data science. So that was a 3 days event where I was addressing a specific challenge, which was to do with prediction of asset failures based on historic weather data. And that is the project that gave me the most. So over the period of 3 days, we developed a sort of a proof of concept, or maybe a very sort of broad overview of the project. And then that led into a full-fledged project. They were interested in it. They wanted us to develop that as a solution. So they approached my employer, and I worked on it for the next few months as a full-fledged machine learning data science project. Another project, community project that I was part of that I would like to mention was also around COVID-19. So there's a huge risk or huge food security issues when all of these lockdowns started around March. And that led to supermarkets running out of simple things like toilet rolls or groceries that are the most essential ones. So we formed up a community on LinkedIn. There was certain people out there looking for like-minded people, and we sort of built a community around on LinkedIn itself. We built a group, and then we started to develop a solution to identify the areas that are at highest risk of going down in terms of food security issues, and also what areas in UK are most likely to go to face risks on running short of the food or the basic essentials. So we built a project around it, and now that's converting into a sort of a AI startup where we are building a solution which would be a digital twin of a supply chain, where we will identify what happens if a particular part of a supply chain goes down, and how we can address those sort of supply chain risks and be resilient to such issues like such things like pandemics or any other sort of political or social issues. So that gave me a lot of good experience in data science as well, which I added onto my profile before I could get a job. Next is Kaggle competitions. So I did participate in a few Kaggle competitions to start off with. I didn't do a massive bit there, but yes, absolutely, it is essential. There is a lot of practice data sets out there that I used on Kaggle to develop my data science skills, and some of them I actually participated and posted my work on Kaggle itself. Other things you can do is also participate in these sort of webinars. There's a lot of workshops, tech expos that are going on online. They're all virtual right now. They used to be physical back then, but they're all virtual right now because of COVID. But these are things that you can definitely do. So I think all of these combined together, hackathons, community projects, Kaggle competitions, webinars, workshops, tech expos, gives you a really powerful thing, which is your network of people that you know are in the field. Whether they're data scientists or industry experts in that particular domain that you're willing to go, or peers who are like you on a similar path in terms of becoming a data scientist, but it gives you a really strong network of people, which then leads to invaluable sort of either friendships or even full-fledged projects like the AI startup that I'm currently a part of, which led from a COVID-19 community project. So it really leads you to great results in terms of great value that you can add to your profile, and also great connections and lifelong friendships. So and that is absolutely key. So what you can do is, every time now that you know the value of these, every time you see anything out there, or whether it's on Meetup, Eventbrite, LinkedIn, DevPost, anywhere you see, think of how you can participate in it, how you can grow your network, how you can gain experience from it, and just be proactive in doing that while you're building your skills and knowledge. So you obviously you continue learning during that period of time. So even while I was doing all of these, I was learning, I was taking courses on deep learning. I was understanding, reading a lot of blog posts, addressing a lot of issues around, okay, how do we deal with imbalanced data sets? What you can do to avoid overfitting. So I was learning a lot of complex things outside of doing these projects and being a part of the community itself. And lastly, while you're doing this, don't be afraid to share your work, publish your work, and be open out there. Let the world know that you are out there, you are on the path of becoming of getting into AI, or becoming a data scientist, or becoming a machine learning engineer. Publish your work and be very expressive about what you're doing in your life, in terms of your career progression, and in terms of learning, and being proactive about all of these data science projects that you are working on. Next is building your brand, which is similar to what Ali shared. So while you're doing all of these, it's also sort of important to kind of project yourself as a data scientist. So obviously you are learning, but you want to project yourself as a data scientist, that you already are a data scientist, and you understand what's going on in the community, you understand what's going on in terms of the research and in data science and machine learning, and you are working on projects. So you want to project yourself already as a data scientist while you're doing these things. So some good ways of doing that is, one is obviously, I think, validate your knowledge, so that you feel confident before you project yourself as a data scientist. Validate your knowledge, and there are a few ways of doing this, which is Azure or AWS certification. So there is Azure Data Scientist Associate, and there is also AWS Machine Learning Specialty that you can undertake. These are exam-based certifications, and they are also well sort of recognized in the industry. So every data science team you're going to be a part of, there'll be some form of cloud engineering or cloud architecting that you'll do for data science, and these certifications will really help you get into a sort of role which requires you to have an exposure of cloud, and it'll give you that confidence that you're not just doing things on your Jupyter notebook, you're not just building projects on your laptop, but you can actually understand, if you were to take this local project and put it onto a cloud and make that a part of a bigger sort of software, how would you do that? So that's the reason why Azure and AWS certifications, or even GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform, is really sort of essential, or can help you feel confident about it. So I've done both of them. I've done Azure Data Scientist Associate, and I've also done AWS Machine Learning Specialty, and that helped me during interviews. That helped me, answer a lot of complex questions on how to productionize things. It gave me a sort of an end-to-end view of not just building data science projects, but also productionizing it and issues that you face while productionizing these data science models. Next important thing is, I think, also as you're learning things, even simple or complex, make sure you do a lot of, if you can, do blog posts, because and share them on LinkedIn, because that shows the world that you're learning and you're progressing. You're not stuck there. And also, while you're doing that, it's teaching is one of the best ways of making sure that you've understood it correctly. So writing a blog post, you're gonna have to think from beginning till end, what you're actually talking about, whether it's a simple topic on data science, or whether it's a project that you carried out, whether it's a particular methodology that you use to address some problem in data science. Write a blog post, write a blog article. So one of the biggest place to sort of get started in writing articles is Medium. Create your account here and publish your first article. After you publish your first article, go to Towards Data Science. This is the biggest community of data science readers or data science blog, where there's largest number of articles published here, and it has a huge sort of reader base. So if you've put your article on Towards Data Science and shared it, it means a lot to the industry. It means you're doing something actively. So I'll quickly share how to sort of get your article on Towards Data Science. So once you've created your account on Medium and you've gone here and you say write a story, create a story here. Once you've done that, publish that story, and then go to Towards Data Science. After you publish your story, go to Towards Data Science, click on Contribute, and here you'll have a whole lot of guidance on submission rules and guidelines on how to make sure that you created the article correctly, you've used the right sort of method to caption your photos, or you've not made any copyright infringement, or you've not made any sort of errors in the way you're consistent with the other sort of data science readers. So once you go all the way down here and you say there should be, check your facts, Medium, how to submit your article. So there's a form here. This is where you get started, and you put a link to the article that you've published on here along with the other details, and it'll come up, if it's approved, it'll come up on the Towards Data Science blog. So yeah, blog posts is really essential, and when you're doing that, make sure you share that work on your LinkedIn. So I'll quickly share through my LinkedIn profile. So this is one of the blog posts that I really recently posted. I've shared my sort of Azure AWS machine learning specialty certification in here as well. This shows my sort of profile is full of activity around data science. You've shared your experience here in terms of your whatever data science projects that you've been working on, and at the very end here you've also shared your different certifications that you've achieved on data science / machine learning. So that's how you kind of project yourself as a data scientist, building a really strong CV and a really strong profile around making sure that you convey the different projects that you worked on. And next is okay, going from here, how do you then project yourself in jobs? So I've faced quite a few interviews. There are usually 3 to 4 stages. The first stage is a phone, then is a technical test, then a technical interview, and the last one is a cultural fit. This is the general or the usual process around getting a data science job. So from my experience, I think there are 4 key things that make you stand out when you're going out for data science jobs or machine learning jobs. One is that you demonstrate your attitude towards continuous learning and development. Next is you have a sort of deep and wide understanding of the data science principle, which is not just you can do things on your laptop, but you have an end-to-end awareness of, especially around deploying data science models or productionizing data science models. I got a lot of questions around that in interviews. So yeah, that's definitely something that you should keep in mind: end-to-end awareness. Then is some understanding of the domain itself. So you understand what domain you're getting into, what kind of data you're going to be facing, or what kind of data science problems you'll be addressing. And also, lastly, I think your confidence in the role itself, that your confidence in the eligibility of your role. So you know that you've done enough, you've attended hackathons, you've done community projects, you've you've been out there proactively learning. So having that confidence in your eligibility of the role, makes you project yourself in a very different way when you're in an interview process. So that's, I think, very important. After you got into the job, I think the way you continuously still be active and develop yourself is carry on learning new things, carry on doing more certifications, do knowledge shares and knowledge sharing sessions or webinars at work or lunch and learns at work, and still be still be a part of the community outside of your work. Even after you've got a data science job or you've got into AI, still be part of community, do external projects, and that's how you'll still diversify your data science experience and gain more knowledge on what's going on out there outside of your job. And lastly, there's I think three challenges that I would like to talk about that I faced. So one is choosing the right resources. There is a lot out there. How do you decide what to choose? I think there is no right or wrong course. There is no best course. You just pick one to just get started with, and while you're doing that, you build your own path. There is no one is going to tell you this is the right course for you. It is up to you to shop around and pick one and stick with it. Once you pick one, stick with it for a period of time. Make sure you complete it, not just jump around from one course to another. So there is no right or wrong way here. Just make your own path. Build your own build your own sort of degree, and then award the graduation to yourself. Next challenge was how much is enough. There is a lot you can learn even in one particular skill. So Pandas itself, say for example, is a huge library. You can't know 100% of it. So there is no answer to how much of skills, how many skills is enough, and how much in each skill is enough. There is as long as you have an end-to-end view and a bit of depth in your data science knowledge around what the key issues are in machine learning and data science and how you address them, it's fine. It doesn't matter whether you choose PyTorch or TensorFlow as your deep learning library. As long as you pick one and you have an sort of end-to-end view, there is no percentage of knowledge that is enough for getting into data science. And lastly, I think having faith was another sort of last challenge that I had is, am I doing the right thing? Will I get there? That was the question mark. There is no answer to it. Is all you can do is just close your back doors and keep going forward. There is no going backward. And if you keep going forward, you'll get to the end. That's the way I addressed it. So just treat it as a mission and go for it. I would say if you are thinking of getting into AI, and discipline is obviously the key here. That you can only continuously give time to this and acquire these skills if you're disciplined in your routine, as Ali mentioned. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of what I wanted to convey, and off to you, Ali.
All right. So I should be back online any second now. I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds. All right, perfect. So welcome back, everyone. We will continue going forward in our presentation today. So we were scheduled to finish by 12:30. I'm going to make sure we get there by in time. There is still some stuff to cover on getting UK visas, as well as if you are breaking into the career in AI, how can you continue building on that career? So there are two more areas that we still got to cover today before we can switch over to Q&A, where we will answer the questions that we have been posted on the chat. We've been already answering some of them, but if you have any more, please post them, and we will try to cover them going forward. Both myself and Raghav, we will answer them in our own perspectives, so you can get like different angles from the answer for the answer at that of the same question. So let's go back to where we were previously. How can you maximize your chances for getting a UK visa? So in the so this is very specific to the UK, just because I've been through the process myself, so I know how to get it. But if you want something for the US or other countries, it's kind of similar. If you can jump through the hoops in here, you can do the same in other countries as well. Because at the end of the day, people who have AI skills and data science skills are in demand. So a lot of companies in those countries will sponsor you. So if you're working in other countries and you want to come to the UK, or you want to go to the US or Australia or other countries, people with AI skills and data science skills are very in demand, especially computer vision. And if you can get a job, that company would be able to sponsor you, and then you would be able to get a visa through that sponsorship via their work visa routes. So in the UK, the way you maximize your chances for getting a UK visa is you need to do some couple of checks before you even start applying. So one of those checks is reading the before you start applying for jobs in any other country that you want to get into, check the guidance notes and the guidelines for what are the things they require in order to apply for a work visa. And also check the list of licensed sponsors. So licensed sponsor are companies that have a license in order to sponsor employees from outside of the country. So in the UK, these are employees who are outside of the EU economic area. So I've provided a link here. When you click on that link, it will take you to a website. It will take you to a document on the UK Gov website, as you can see here. This document gets updated every month. So you see this has been updated last 19 November 2020. Wow, that is like a couple of days ago. That is 2 days ago. So it's been updated 2 days ago, and it has a list of how many pages? It's 2,111 pages long. So don't treat it as a book that you read back to back, but treat it as a database that you can search for companies that you want to apply to. If the company is on this list, they can sponsor you. So don't apply for companies, don't apply for startups and jobs and companies that are not on this list, because they probably wouldn't be able to sponsor you. You would not be able to get a UK visa to work in the UK. That's a very important rule. 2, read the guidance on application. So there is a 52-page document. This is basically everything you need to know. UK visas for tier 2 is a points-based system. So you get the points, you get the visa. You don't get the points, you don't get the visa. Simple. You can appeal if you don't get some of the points, but mostly if you get the points, you can get the visa. And this basically takes you through all the various types of visa you want to get. Normally, you go for the tier 2 general visa. And with this visa, what it requires is that a company needs to sponsor you, and the salary you get needs to be a minimum salary of about 30 to 40K. And they need to sponsor you on their shortage occupation list. So there is a table I think I've provided. And that table is this one, table number 1 or 2. And this basically all the list of all the roles in the UK, all the jobs in the UK that are currently on the shortage occupation list. Basically meaning we don't have enough people doing them. They don't have enough skills to do them. So we want people come in to help us do these jobs do these jobs basically. And there are some salary requirements that you need to take care of. So make sure the job offers you get meet the minimum requirement salaries here. So new entrants 25K, experienced workers 33K, and so on. I think that the code for software engineers and data scientists are 2136, if I'm not correct. Yeah, programmers and software development professionals. So you need to be earning at least 33K if you want to if you're entering as a new person or if you're entering as an experienced worker. My recommendation is data scientist, you would normally get about 50K anyway, or 40K or 35K or something. So as a new entrant, aim high, like you don't need to go back to go up. So if you already have like 5 years experience in another industry and you're breaking into AI data science, normally if you've got like a 1 year of experience like teaching or like studying and stuff, you would be able to get a good salary. Don't settle for low salaries and keep applying until you find something that suits you. So that's the main thing. Read the document, check the database of licensed companies, and make sure that you're on that the job you're applying for matches one of these, because otherwise you will have more hoops to jump through. And basically the stuff that you require is a company that sponsors you, your job meets the minimum salary requirements, you have some money in the bank called maintenance funds. There's about, I think, 2 to 3K. I don't know, you have to check the document, or 1K. If you have that fund, basically means you can sustain yourself in the country until your job starts. And you also meet the minimum English language requirements. So either you have to take an IELTS exam, which is an English language testing system, or you have to prove some other way that you know English. For example, you studied in the UK, you have a degree, so that degree proves that you already know English because you studied in English university. And if you want to switch from tier 4 to tier 2, which is student visa, to a work visa, that's the same process. Like, read that document, check the companies on the license page. Don't apply to companies. Don't waste your time with companies that are not hiring. Hiring like international students or hiring internationally. One of the things I would recommend doing is I would recommend contacting the hiring manager and just simply asking them, hey, do you guys consider applications from international students or from like people who work internationally, and see what it goes from there. And if you're working in the European Economic Area, I'm afraid to tell you that from December, this applies to you as well. You will need to apply for work visas coming to the UK. I think Europe. I think this is, no, that's not the one. I lost the link, but basically the rules are changing for UK border UKBA. So that's UK Border Agency, and basically what that means is that if you want to work in the UK, even if you're from Europe, you will need to get a work visa through this process as well. So make sure that you know this process well, so that you can actually get a work visa going forward. So that's the example of the document, as I mentioned. The main difference between tier 5 and tier 2 is tier 5 is more for international exchange. So it's limited to 1 to 2 years, while tier 2 you can actually get a 3-year to 5-year visas, which then afterward you can apply for ILR, indefinite leave to remain, or like citizenship afterwards. So just make sure the salary requirements meet the requirements that you have, and go from there. So that covers the UK visa section. There is not much to it. It's more just like gather documents, read that guidance note, and go from there. One last section that I want to cover is after you have the job, after you are working in the UK or in any country you're applying to. How can you build on top of your AI career? So there aren't many things I've listed here, just because if you're trying to break into AI, there are lots of things to do previously. So this is not the most biggest area of your concern at the moment. But there are a couple of things that I recommend here that if you're into AI, that would be helpful for you. So one is build and start projects. Build something, start projects. There is a course called Y Combinator's Startup School. So they really give you some good ideas on like what stuff to build, like how to find good ideas and how to use a good idea to build a project that people care about and like are willing to pay for. Maybe that could be the start of your company and your MVP. And also, like, even if it's not, if you just like start building small mini projects, something here, something there, like using this data set, using that data set, a lot of mini projects is like droplets of water building an ocean. So either a lot of mini projects or one big good project that you can showcase to people, like of that like shows your capabilities. It's about showing, not telling. You go to an interview, talk about yourself, like it's hard to sell yourself. You go to an interview, you show your project, they're like, I don't need to talk about your technical skills anymore. Let's focus on your soft skills, you know, or like your cultural background, like cultural fit. Realize you can level up by skipping steps. So this is the important part. I was talking about the salary requirements on the UK visas. One thing to consider is look at your current experience, and when you start learning AI and the data science skills, don't sell yourself short, because you have all of that experience, and even in AI, that experience might be useful because you will have data sets related with that kind of experience you have. For example, you worked in rail industry and you have domain knowledge of rail, various like various like rail like technologies, like how the rail industry works, how your industry works. For example, if you've been working in healthcare, and a lot of the data sets that you will come across, you understand that data set and other data scientists will not. So that's where you have an advantage. So you can sell your skill sets higher. So when you learn AI, it's like as if you're in your previous job, but like you have like a new stack of skills that you can sell. So that means that you don't necessarily have to go down in your salary. You don't need to, like with most careers, normally the way you switch careers, you go down, then you go up. With AI, you can actually still continue going up, or even like make a jump while you switch careers. I'm not joking. This is real. So you may not have to level down to change your career direction. Best progress you have is via jobs you're underqualified for. So if you apply for a job and you feel like, oh, this is a bit too much, like they're asking for all sorts of things, I may not sure I have this. Remember, employers, they're like people who are hungry and they go to a grocery store. They basically be like, I want this and that and this and this and that and this and that. So they basically list down a grocery shopping list of all the skills they want data scientists that they're gonna hire have. You don't need to have all of them. You just have to be the perfect person. You have to be the best person that they have as one of their candidates. That's it. So you're competing with other candidates, and you just have to be the best person that they have applied to that role. That's it. And you don't need to have all the skills. So if you've been studying, if you've been teaching, if you've been following all the advice I've been telling you, if you just try to, and if you apply for jobs that you feel like it's just that you're top of your limit, a bit higher maybe, first, it makes sure that you get the salary you deserve. Second, it makes sure that you are you're actually going to a career that challenges you and you learn quite a lot from it, working with people who know more than you, and like it helps you grow further. And thirdly, it will make sure that it will give you that opportunity. Like don't limit your own self. Let them limit you. Let other people reject you. Don't reject yourself. That's what I say. Like has to be like your mantra for life. So apply for those jobs. If they reject you, that's fine. You may have been underqualified for it, but you may be also, like them. You may also be the perfect person for the job, and they've just been a grocery shopping list. Like they've just been listing like a grocery shopping skills, like the way you write your grocery shopping list. So they might be just like putting skills on a job description just so that like maybe they can get a unicorn data scientist that has all those skills. By the way, you will probably be a unicorn if you know all of those skills. You don't have to, but it will get you there if you don't reject yourself and let people reject you. You just apply and just try. So that I think would be a good mantra when you're going for this, and you will get a lot of rejections. You would probably like at least sit down, like write down somewhere that I'm going to get 100 rejections before I can get a job. So that at least you have this mindset, and then you just keep applying, and then apply for a job as if like this is the only job you're applying that whole day. So have a career routine, as would say, like the way I said, have a study routine, have a career routine where when you feel that comfortable that you can now apply for internships and jobs, apply for one job a day. That's enough. One job a day, like 3 or 4 jobs a week. That's enough, I think. And if you do that for a couple of months, that's 200 jobs or something you have applied. And the thing is, because you're only applying one job a day, you're very picky which job you apply. And two, you're taking your time writing the perfect cover letter, the perfect tailored CV for each job. So every hiring manager will be like, wow, this person really knows us. Like they're the perfect person for this role. So with this, you might also be able to get jobs even in your 20s that are 80K in salaries, just because that startup or that company really wanted someone with the skill set, and you're the only person who has it, and they've been desperate, and they will be able to, they know how your value, and they will provide it. Just because your unique background and experience and the data science skill stack that you've developed will get you there. And lastly, be honest about your values and who you are, and what you're worth, and communicate that to the employer and to the people you're working with. This also comes down to co-founders as well. And if you also wanted to freelance or do contracting work, there is a technique called the briefcase technique. I've linked it here. It's a technique developed by Ramit Sethi. I don't know if you've heard of them. And basically that is do the 90% of the negotiations work is in the background. It happens in the planning stage prior to the negotiation or prior to the interviews. You sit down and research and figure out exactly what are the needs are, what are the challenges they have, and then you go and put together a briefcase, I would say, that like you just take up like this, you put on a table and say, actually, I've been looking at your company, or I've been looking at the problems you have, the projects you're working on, and these are my ideas. You can do this, you can do that, you can do A, you can do B, you can do C, you can do the C. I know how to help you with B. I know how to help you with D. You just have to do this. You just have to do that, and then they'll be like, okay, like how much is take my money, So that's called the briefcase technique, and it just comes down to planning and just preparing. So I would just not say half of the battle, but like 70-80% of the battle is in preparation. 20% of the battle is in delivery. And delivery as in sit down in front of the table and the negotiations table. Delivery of the technique. So be extremely picky with the jobs you apply for, and apply perfectly. So that's the main gist of how you get building your AI career, and this will help you get the best jobs in the industry that pay you the most. Some of the books I recommend are listed here. I would suggest start with 80,000hours.org because 88,000 hours, because that's about the number of hours you work in your career. And that book is about researchers at Oxford University studied lots of different careers to figure out what are the best careers to get into, and even if you get into AI, for example, what industries would be the most impactful, and how you can gauge the industry, how much impact you have in that industry, and so on. So what are the best ways to use that 80,000 hours? So that's what the book is about. Other stuff I would suggest reading is Influence, Key Person of Influence, How to Influence People. So these are just like general soft skills, and also to help you build your personal and professional brand. So these are just some of the books I recommend you getting good reading, which helps you with forming good values and forming good soft skills and communication skills when it comes to building a professional career. As I mentioned as well, you may not be interested in working for other people. You may want to work for yourself. In that case, I suggest sign up for Y Combinator Startup School. They just recently released a new course, which are for aspiring startup founders. So that means you don't have to have a startup or even an idea. You just start from there, and then they tell you the mindsets, they teach you the mindsets, and how you can go find a co-founder, and how you can start a startup. And then once you start the startup, there is another course they have which teach you how you can actually focus on the right stuff, so you can actually earn money, get funding, and grow your startup from there. You don't have to be with AI. AI is just a tool. Don't try to force the tool into. Don't force the solution into a problem. So AI is just a solution. Focus on the problems, and if the problem might be solved with AI, then that's good. Otherwise, if you find another problem that can be solved, if you work on that, that could be a startup idea itself. But you don't need to use AI. AI is just a tool. And build something people want. Because notice a problem people love caring about. Like this could be problems you have in your life that you stumble across, or problems that other people have been like complaining to you about, or something like that. You mention other people having, and then just focus on building something that would help them. If AI might not be able to do that, but if it does, much better. Like you're doing something you love and you're helping people at the same time. And if you're looking for problems to solve, talk to people and just have be on the lookout. More like say, like leave just go about your days, but like just be a bit more aware of your surroundings and other people around you, and see what problems they're facing, and then ideas will come to you on how AI can solve stuff. So this is more like an organic way of finding ideas. For startups and starting a startup, I have a bunch of other books I recommend. Some of the more technical books are Value Proposition Design and Testing Business Ideas, Business Model Generation. So this is more just like technical, like down to the grain, practical skill sets. The MOM test, for example, is basically about testing how good your ideas is before you even go work on it. The most dangerous ideas are the ones that seem plausible to you, but are actually shit ideas. So be careful of those ideas where you think, like, oh, this is the perfect idea, I have to build this, but then you haven't talked to other people, and then you go talk to other people and you figure out actually this is shit, like no one cares about it. Or worst case, you build that thing, like you spend thousands of dollars, thousands of pounds on it, and then you launch it and people are like, yeah, they're crickets, like no one cares about it. So that's why I read the NOM test, read the $100 startup, and the personal MBA. Like these are really good books. I myself first started leading the Lean Startup. That was a really great book. But like all of these books, they cover some stuff about product design, some stuff about marketing, stuff about business model generation, some biography about like tech moguls like Elon Musk. Well, Elon Musk is not tech mogul, but like yes, like engineering moguls and tech moguls. Like read Steve Jobs' book, those kind of stuff. Read these books gradually, and like they will just keep helping you. And any knowledge is good knowledge. Any course is good course. And lastly, to cover up, check out our group, Beginners Machine Learning Group on Meetup. We have also an Eventbrite page. We're also developing some new courses as well that we will release very soon. And we're in the process of branding. We might call ourselves Breakthrough AI at some point, but at the moment, we're still Beginners Machine Learning London. You can find that there. And we have, if you enjoyed this workshop, we have another workshop coming in 2 weeks. So the link is there on the slides. I will also put the link is also in the description. Go sign up for that course. You will also get access to the online course once we release that. That will have more content. But this workshop is live, so I will teach you for 6 hours computer vision basics from scratch. Like if you just know a bit of basic Python, you're good to go. And these are some of the projects you will work on, which is very interesting. You will build a license plate recognition system. You will write code that will help computer recognize shapes and objects and equalize images and learn about how images are processed in like, for example, how Photoshop works when it filters something. So that's all from me. Thank you very much, everyone. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. Both myself and Raghav will answer them. I will start with myself, and I will answer some of the questions that I've already answered in the chat. But if you have more questions, please ask them in the chat right now. We have about, I think, 15 minutes that we can answer the questions. Once I answer some of the questions, I will switch the stream back over to Raghav. Raghav will be able to answer some of the other questions that I have not covered, or answer the previously ones that I have covered, and in his own perspective, unique perspective. So if I just review some of the questions, so some people ask, I started my MLDL journey about 2 months ago, currently in Udacity Deep Learning Nano degree. What do you think is the time when you actually can do an ML internship? So my suggestion is keep doing courses. When you're starting in the beginning, you don't know much about the field. You don't know what concepts you need to learn. So first, learn as much as you can. Just do courses, enjoy your learning journey, learn different things, be curious, and learn different courses. At some point, you will realize that all of these courses are covering the same concepts, covering the same things, and you catch yourself running the videos at 1.5 speed, or you skipping over videos, and you reach a point where you're like, yeah, I know this, I know this, I know this. When you reach that stage, that means that you've passed that phase, the first phase, which is just studying phase, and you're now at a phase there you can teach stuff to other people, and where you can actually go to the next phase. And in the next phase, I would recommend just do some projects just so they can get some confidence building stuff up on your own, rather than like being handholded via like course instructors. And when you reach that comfortable stage as well, where you feel like, if I come to you and give you an idea, you can build it yourself, then that's a stage where you're ready for applying for ML internships. So do enough courses until they become boring and they become repetitive, then build your own little mini projects, struggle with the code, like get that project working at the end. One project is enough. Once you've done that and you feel like you can do it, then apply for internships, and you have the projects to back you up when you've done those projects. So that's the framework I suggest you to follow. Study, build, then apply. Study, build, apply. SBA. Just made it up. But yeah, just use this framework to go forward from there. Hi, thanks for putting this on firstly, been insightful. How long did it take you between finishing studying, starting your career outside of AI, and then breaking into AI? So I did a traditional engineering degree, mechanical engineering at University of Sheffield. That was about 6 years ago, or 7 years ago. I did a couple of years of working in for an engineering consultancy, and afterwards I got interested in AI and I started studying for it. I remember I studied for 6 to 8 months, and then afterwards I founded this group where I could share my knowledge and we could bring people together, and we could have social events, we could have workshops, we could have like various different events in London. We got also sponsored by Microsoft, like giving us venues and stuff. And I did that for another 6 to 8 months, and then started doing hackathons at that point because I felt more comfortable with teaching and more comfortable with these materials. And then it was at that point when I'd actually started, learning all of these things afterwards. And then that's at one of these hackathons, when I won that hackathon, then I got the job offer straight away from the organizer, which was this company that organizes hackathons and builds rail tech, basically. So that's how I broke into the industry, and I've been working for the past 2 years, 1.5 year in data science space. So that's also what I recommend as well, is follow that framework that we provided in this webinar, and don't rush it, but also like after some point we get involved in the communities and be involved in competitions and in hackathons, and that will get you there where you want to get to. I would estimate between 1 year and a half you can break into AI if you really put your mind to it. Next question. Hi, thanks for the informative lecture. Are there any professional certifications in data science? I don't remember there is an institution like professional institution of data scientists or something like that there is for engineers. However, my recommendation is, if you want to get certifications, do like specialization courses by deep learning AI. Those certifications are kind of well known, and it takes quite a lot of effort to actually get them. Do certifications that take some effort to get them. So like not everybody can get them, or not everybody put the effort to put in to get them. For example, cloud certifications are one of them. They're very hard to get. You need to sit an exam, and it's quite hardcore. Like you need to learn lots of various cloud stuff, and you need to sit a proper exam, like lots of like controlled environment. And like questions are really hard as well. They test your understanding rather than your memory. And if you can get those certifications, those are valuable and very recognized. That's why I don't recommend normally other like course certifications other than just like sharing them on LinkedIn, because I've seen people just like they accumulate certificates, but they don't actually progress in their career, and I don't want that to happen to you. That's why I say learn the courses for the sake of learning stuff and building your skill sets and understanding the data science field much better and becoming better data scientist, but don't do them for the certificates and accumulating certificates that you can show off to people. The only certificates that people might care about are cloud certifications because they're hard to get, and the specialization certifications, for example, from Coursera. Next question. AI and sustainable economy. Any specific example how AI can contribute to sustainable economy, food production, energy saving, circular economy, and so on? Very good question. So one of the things AI does, it learns trends from historical data. That's it. AI writes the instructions for a computer by looking at data, learning the trends and patterns in the data, and then predicting the future and automating tasks based on the historical patterns. So if, for example, in energy industry, you can forecast the demand, you can actually optimize your energy production, basically making more sustainable efforts in not actually producing a lot of greenhouse gases. That's one of the examples. Another example is understanding that you need more wind turbines on the sea in order to generate more green energy in order to meet the demand, because you forecasted from the previous demand that on weekends, on a Christmas day, people will be using a lot of energy at home when they're at home. Stuff like that. Like, this is how AI can actually use. Same thing with healthcare, same thing with other stuff. For example, in healthcare, doctors still can make mistakes when they look at X-ray scans. Computers don't make mistakes. So if you teach a computer to look for specific patterns in X-ray scans, this is where computer vision comes in. You can actually detect tumors, or you can detect like anomalies in the X-ray scans so accurately, like statistically accurate, compared to if you just give it to a doctor who has to like look at them and like compare with memory or like compare with that. So this is like how AI can help with sustainable economy and healthcare and all of those things. Other question. So there was a question about certificates, and that if you the certificate's not being valuable. I basically say any course you take is valuable because you're learning something new. Certificate from that course might not be valuable because either the course is not very well known, or that anyone can get that certificate. It's not that hard to get that certificate. So the value of the certificate comes about basically correlates with the amount of effort that it takes to get that certificate. For example, a degree is a certificate, but it's worth a lot in their society because it takes you 5 years or 4 years to get that certificate. However, a data camp course that takes you 3 hours to finish, that's not a certificate that is valuable. That anyone can get that. Introduction to Python, if you get that certificate and post it on LinkedIn, nobody cares. Like, it wouldn't advance your career, but doing that course is not about doing the certificate, it's about learning Python. So you do it to learn Python so you can actually advance to more interesting problems and work on interesting technologies going forward from there. Next question, can you please also recommend internship volunteering for AI? Basically what I recommended is do look for companies that have a lot of data. So marketing companies, healthcare companies, but tech companies as well, and startups, for example. And contact the people, like in LinkedIn, you can see the employees of the company. Contact the people and give them ideas of like things you can do for them, or find if they have like job postings for internships. If they have a lot of data, they probably want a data scientist, or they probably want someone to build them AI models. Next question, how can you approach an AI healthcare company that has an internship and really interested in working for them? They refuse your application, to be honest with you, my general thing is mostly if a company refuses you, like if someone rejects you, or if a company refuses you, you're better off working for them or being with them. So rejection is a blessing here, because it basically means you're not a good fit for them, they're not a good fit for you. Otherwise you would have worked out, or otherwise they put the effort in to like hire you or like be with you. So this is a mantra I recommend as well going forward. If a company rejects you, they probably didn't see your value enough, or you didn't convey your value in your presentation to them. You can try again and you can send them, but because you have this first impression, it normally doesn't take the effort. I think the best is focus on other companies. There's so many healthcare companies out there that still you can you can go forward, apply the briefcase technique, and get put that impression on them and get there. And actually, like, there could be much better role for you, much better cultural fit for you, and you would love that job much more because, for example, it's next to your house or something, and people are amazing there, you're learning so much, compared to like if you really try to force yourself to push yourself to work for that company. However, if you really want to give it last try, I would suggest with the briefcase technique again. Research the company, see what problems they have, and then come up with solutions and ideas that you can help them with, and contact the hiring manager with those solutions and ideas, and show that your enthusiasm about like how much you love to work for that company, and give it a try again. Like for example, another thing you could do is ask one of the employees out for a coffee and just pick their brain about how the company works, what are the challenges they have and stuff, and just gather your knowledge like this, and then just go back to them with that knowledge and with that understanding of how you can help them. To give you an example, if you know a company is building some kind of computer vision product or some kind of data science product, and they're looking for some lead on computer vision or data science, or some data science junior engineer, go find out from one of the employees what that project is about, what are the challenges they have and stuff, and then approach the hiring manager, straight go into the problems they have and say, I know you have this problem and that problem, actually I've done this and that, I can actually help you here and here and here, here are some examples of the work I've done in the past. Bam, boom. That's briefcase techniques in a digital format, and they should be able to get back to you. And another question is, what is the trending areas of research in data science? Trending areas of research, one is computer vision, the other one is big data, another one is explainable AI. So that basically means what happens inside a neural network, like when a neural network learns, what happens in between them, like in between those layers, like what is the neural network learning. At the moment, still neural networks are a black box, if you believe it or not. When I build a neural network, I still don't know what's happening inside. Like I could give it a data, but if my data changes, I have no idea how the neural network will react. It's still a big, like if like it's you cannot easily debug it. It's not like in a normal script you can debug the script, you can go through line by line and figure exactly what's happening. With the AI model, it doesn't work like that. The computer writes its own instructions, and you cannot access that instruction and see line by line what happens within that. Like that's why it's a black box, and that's why you have so much other stuff about the ethics of AI and all of those things. For example, don't build an AI that's racist and rejects all the black people's critical applications. Stuff like that. Like it's still a black box, and these are like areas of research: ethics, safety, efficiency, and improvement in deep learning. So like you can do more. Hardware, in particular GPU, TPU, and quantum computing are one of the biggest areas of research. And lastly, computer vision, better object detection, better segmentation, and application of that in like industries such as autonomous vehicles, autonomous healthcare, autonomous rail transport, and so on. So these are all the various areas of research that are quite hot right now. Last question before I switch back to Raghav. So Raghav will answer some of these questions as well. And now I'm taking deep learning specialization by Andrew Ng. I was wondering what course should I take after completing it in order to pursue AI for realizing sustainable economy. GAN. So generative adversarial neural networks. Those are courses if you want to develop neural networks that produce something, like produce art, produce music, produce like some kind of media. So I'm not sure how that would relate to sustainable economy. If you figure out an application for it, then yes, study the GAN specialization. My recommendation is study the deep learning specialization, study the TensorFlow specialization. These are like some good ones to get your head around, so you can actually, you can actually write out you can actually write the code and make it happen, and then focus on other areas of data science, cloud computing, statistics, what other stuff out there? Statistics, cloud science, version control, software engineering practices, like how you, for example, refactor code. So like things that actually make you more well-rounded, rather than just like focused data scientists, like knowing lots about machine learning, nothing else about how tech works. So that's why I said like do it like that. And from there, also focus on what data sets would be useful for you to use to build models that would actually forecast or automate some kind of process that will contribute to sustainable economy. So that example I gave about forecasting demand versus supply is one example. Use the past data to do time series forecasting for the future outcomes. and statistics would help you. So I would suggest take some statistics courses in that area. Lastly, yes, Raghav slides will be available. I asked Raghav, and I think what I could do right now is I will switch the stream now to Raghav, so you will see the circling dot again for a moment, and Raghav will be able to help you. He will answer some of these questions that I may have like skipped over, or I have not answered in a particular way that you wanted to be answered. So I'll see you in a minute. Help you. He will answer some of these questions that I may have like.
Hi everyone, back again. Couple of questions that I think I can contribute to. One of them is around sustainable economy. What sort of projects are going on in sustainable economy? So I've done a couple of hackathons on energy and energy related data, as well as on climate change. Majority of it is I think energy has got a huge role to play in sustainable sustainable climate change and sustainability, environmental sustainability. The kind of projects I worked on was realizing the potential. What are the potential locations? Say, for example, in the whole of UK, which are underutilized at the moment for generating renewable energy based on the weather data. That was one of the projects I did. One other project I did was also around matching the generation and the consumption profiles of energy. So there are energy power plants which, and each of them has got their own sort of generation profile, depending on what sort of renewable energy it's generating. So if it's solar energy, it's got a peak during the day and then nothing in the evening. So problems around how do you balance that across the grid, and how do you match the consumption profile with the generation profile. So if you have certain users of the energy or consumers of the energy, what users would you pick in order for your generation profile to match that consumption profile? And also worked on projects which are to do with energy aggregation. So there is a huge problem in the energy market right now, which is accessibility to smaller companies, where there would be large power plants, but then to get into to consume those ones, you would have to create a PPA, and that PPA can include either a large company or say a bunch of smaller companies, or a combination of large and small companies. But then how do you aggregate those together to make sure that what your generation profile is, or the company that's producing the energy is producing the same amount of energy that the combined sort of PPA wants to consume, or have to make sure that, because each PPA has got contract start dates and end dates. So how do you make sure that different people jumping in and out of, say, for example, a contract, if possible, would still balance the energy that's generated by the consuming company, by the generating company. So those are some of the examples how you can use AI or machine learning to address climate change. I think the rest are all kind of answered by Ali, but these are just it's just around the climate change that I wanted to sort of address. So I guess I think I'll pass it back to Ali, if that's okay now.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm just going to wait for a couple of seconds for the stream to come back online. All right, we're back. So that mostly covers what we have to mention today. If you have more questions, keep posting them. I will try to answer as we wrap up. But to wrap up, I just wanted to mention that breaking into AI, it's not easy. It takes some effort. I myself had to study for a year or two, like every day after work, doing full time. If you're a student, it might be easier because you have more time available. This is not an issue of having time; it's also an issue of having energy. So manage your energy and manage your time, so that then you can hose that, like funnel that towards your career. Just a second. Hello. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. So it's more about managing your time and managing your energy, so you would be able to focus it on your studies and focus it on this journey. You are going on a journey right now. And this journey starts with doing a bunch of courses. It then starts into getting to a phase where you feel like you know enough. Then you can start building your own things, start teaching, start putting yourself out there. And then from there, applying for jobs or getting approached. I like the best scenario I want to happen to you is people approaching you. Like, you don't have to do anything. You just sit on your LinkedIn or you sit at home or doing nothing. People come to you because you've built your personal expertise and professional brand in the industry such that you've done your networking such that people come to you when they have a problem that they want to solve. So I hope this webinar has been useful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself and to Raghav on LinkedIn. We are both on LinkedIn. You can see our names here. I can also reach out Ali at beginnersmachinelearning.com. It's all like one one big massive string. And I will be more than happy to help you. Reach me out to LinkedIn. Reach out to Raghav on LinkedIn as well if you want, for example, to learn more about how to get certifications and how to publish on big data science journals such as Towards Data Science, and getting your word out there. Start a Medium account, start GitHub, build projects, write online, and go from there. And just one last reminder, make sure that you take, sign up for a computer vision course we have in 2 weeks' time. You would also get access to this online course I'm working on right now, which will release very soon in a month or so. And the first batch of people who go in it are free. Like, they're basically the students who go for this webinar. In the 2 week, we'll get a free access to the course, which I'm planning to later on sell. So I hope you all enjoyed this webinar, and it's been very useful to you. And I hope to see you very soon. Thank you very much all.